Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal experience and reviews of cruising. I'm Kieran, I'm an independent travel agent specialising in cruise holidays, Disney and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts Sarah and Donna. Do you guys want to say hello?
Hello, I'm Donna. I write over at Cruising for All, Cruising with Kids, and I also write LikeLoveDo.com. And I'm Sarah, co-writer at Cruising for All, Cruising with Kids, and also I write over at Extraordinary Chaos.
So this week we're going to do another one of our cruise reviews, and recently, Sarah, you've been sailing on Norwegian Cruise Line, so do you want to let us know a little bit more about which ship you've been sailing on, please?
Yes, so I cruised on Norwegian Encore. So she is a breakaway plus class ship that was launched in 2019. So we were on it for the inaugural, which is what motivated me to want to go back because I loved the ship. She holds 3,998 passengers and registered, it says a crew of 1,735.
Okay, cool. So you obviously picked this ship then mainly because the inaugural season, but have you sailed with Norwegian before in the past?
No, never. So apart from Bliss and Encore on both of their inaugurals, but the friends that we travel with NCO a lot, so it was an easy sell to them. But I just saw the sailing, it was a great deal. Went to the Caribbean, which in February just makes sense. And thought, no, I want to see more of the ship, but I also wanted Chris to see the ship. We did invite the boys, but the boys didn't want to go. I think they really regretted that after. But yeah, it was just that I think the ship's got so much to offer. So it's different, isn't it? It's a similar type of thing to Royal, I suppose, but they offer a different offering.
Before we deep dive into it too much, I guess, so Donna, have you yet to sail Norwegian? I think you've been on Norwegian in the past, have you?
I've only been on the Encore, on the inaugural sailing, which was about 3 days, and it was amazing. One of the best things I liked about it was the amount of different entertainment venues they had, that I was just blown away by that. So I loved it, really enjoyed it, and I definitely will sail on it again. In fact, I've got one booked, so for next year. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I personally haven't yet sailed with Norwegian, but I think the line definitely appeals to me because it is a very multi-generational, and I think it fits into the type of ship I like, that resort category. So obviously you're going to get, and I'm sure you can tell us a little bit more about that as we go on, but there's a lot of stuff for kind of the older market, as well as lots of kids facilities as well, which I think is a really cool thing. And as you say, they kind of compare similarly in offering, at least anyway, to Royal Caribbean, but they do things very differently for Royal as well, don't they?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Okay, so what would be your highlight of the ship then? If we're going to jump in and kind of straight away with what was the one thing you enjoyed the most about the ship?
The promenade, I loved. I mean, I know I bring this up on every podcast. I hate packed pools. It just really stresses me out. And the pool is packed, but they've only got 2 pools on this ship. So for a ship that's got 4,000 passengers, but then I think it's more designed for the Alaskan, those sort of sailings. So the pool was busy, but then they've got this whole promenade deck, which was on deck A, and they've got all areas all the way around the edge. So there's loads and loads of seating areas, big comfy sofas. So you don't have to go to the pool. And we spent so much time down there. So I'd say that was a highlight in the day. And the entertainment, I mean, the cavern, I just can't describe it. And we took friends with us who are absolute mad Beatles fans and hate cheese. And I was dreading taking them. I was dreading it. Do you know they went every night? They just loved it because it's so well done that our friend Hugh, he's just, I really thought he'd hate it because he's just a mega music fan, and John, and they loved it. They even went when they went in the theatre because they were so good. And the atmosphere and everything they do very well. I think the shame was that they took Kinky Boots off. But then again, they've got the choir of men on. So, yeah, for me, definitely a highlight is the entertainment. It's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. That was my favourite thing, actually, was the cavern. I loved the cavern. And I saw a choir of man when I was on Encore last time. And I love the choir of man as well. So, yeah, entertainment's out of this world. It's brilliant.
It's one of those things to point out as well of the atmosphere, I guess, if you could tell us a little bit more about the flow of the evenings, because, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my understanding is Norwegian don't do the typical first seat and second seat in, and you kind of have the entertainment to go around that. It's a lot more freestyle, and they're big advertising, the way they advertise themselves is more the freestyle cruising, so it's not a case of you dictated when you have to eat and when you have to watch the show. A lot of the entertainment is just kind of happening at different times, you could dine at different times. Can you explain a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, so the app is incredible. It's really good, and there's so much going on. So there's actually a comedy club on board as well. There's a nightclub. You've got the cavern, which is, I mean, you can see it's not exactly the same as what the cavern would look like, but it's as well designed as if it was in Disney. That's what it would look like, the cavern. And then they've got the theatre. They've got so many different entertainment venues, and they've got the main atrium where there's always stuff going on. So you've just literally got to look at your planner and think, right, that's what I want to see, and I'm going to dine around that. You can book all your meals from your planner. Now, I saw a review yesterday, actually in our group, of someone saying that they couldn't get restaurants. We didn't struggle. We did more speciality dining than we got because you get the free at sea package. So we did extra, and we were able. We sat on the first day, booked everything, booked our shows, planned it all. It was really easy to do. And then we did shuffle stuff and change stuff. So I really like that about NCL, that it's got that flexibility. And there was stuff we didn't get to do because we couldn't do that and that. But there's so much going on at night. One of our friends before we went said it's going to be like forced fun.
The very thought of forced fun on a holiday.
Honestly. He literally got abused for it the whole holiday. But he came home and said, "This is the way forward. We are cruisers now." He loved it so much. It's not forced fun. It's just really good. It's brilliant.
Would you say it's more that of it's kind of, you can opt into as much as you want? So if you're somebody who loves entertainment, you can obviously plan your entire day around seeing all the different entertainment activities. But equally, if you're somebody who wants to just relax, unwind, enjoy a glass of wine in the evening, and just watch the atmosphere, can the ship offer that to you as well?
Yes, there is. I mean, there's a great whiskey bar where you could just go and it's really quite chilled out. They have a pianist. There's a jazz bar, I think. I'm trying to think. It all blurs in at night, doesn't it?
Craft beer pub, isn't there?
Oh, that. I mean,
Amazing.
the craft beer, they actually have a brewery.
Yeah.
And it's themed around a Harley Davidson cafe. And we actually spent a lot of time in there because it was really cold as well, because it was so hot in the Caribbean. But they've got all the different beers. You can see the beer being brewed, and that's where they have the piano man. But the piano man was like no piano man I've ever seen because he was really sarcastic. He was dead wrong and acted like he couldn't be bothered, which was part of his act, which made him even better. So, yeah, you don't have to do... You could just go and sit somewhere quiet. There's loads of quiet bars. You've got the option. There's lots... It's Encore. I mean, would you agree, Donna? It's like loads of little pockets.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many different places to go. You've got the Galaxy Pavilion, if you like stuff like that. Upstairs, you've got the laser up the top. You've got the go-karts. Everywhere there's a different bar or something different entertainment-wise, a nightclub, everything. It's amazing.
I think that's a good thing to point out, actually. Like, it's crazy to think that they've put go-karts on a cruise ship, and obviously Norwegian are the only cruise line to have go-karts on their cruise ships, but it's crazy to think that that's the level of entertainment you're going to get on board and level of activities on board that you've got. Is it 2-story on Encore?
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, I didn't go on this time because I've done it before and I wanted to film it. And I've done it once and I don't want to go fast. I just want to go around slow. And everyone we went with was dead competitive. I mean, they were discussing strategy on the way to the go-karts. It's like 50-year-old men and they were all like really competitive. So I just took video. It's insane. It's on the top of a ship. I mean, all right, they're electric and they're not as fast. They're fast enough.
I was going to say, next door to it, you've got that really cool diner, haven't you? With all like the different chairs, the cars and stuff like that.
It's like out of Greece.
Yeah.
It's like the American dining in Greece.
Diner, yeah.
And you sit in the car. I've linked a blog post. There's pictures of it in there, and you've got like big Buicks, I think they are, and you actually have your dinner in them. The atmosphere is really good. The theming is fantastic, and then obviously on the back of that you've got, which I didn't do, you've got the Laser Quest, which is I think it's called something Poseidon Adventure or something like that, or Atlantis, and you've got this huge snake, and it's just whoever designed this ship, the design and the theming is just it's incredible. It's great.
It's amazing.
So me and Phil are an adult-only couple. Would you say if you didn't have kids and you weren't interested in all these extra activities, do you feel like you're missing out on part of the ship, or is there equally a lot to do for just adult-only couples on board as well?
We didn't take... I mean, obviously our kids are adults now anyway, but we didn't take them with us because they declined to come. And then, as I say, deeply regretted it. But so it was 4 couples. and we had a whale of a time. We did nearly everything apart from the slide, the ocean loop. And that was because nobody's allowed on that. The restrictions are so tight that even if you've got a tiny bit of plastic on your swimming costume, you can't go on. I think basically, as a concept, it doesn't work because every time, I think you've got to be over a certain weight, under a certain weight, not have any plastic on, and the amount of times people got stuck in it. So there was never a queue because they turned more people away than they let on. And then when there was someone on, they 90% of the time got stuck.
Oh, no.
That was a bit of a shame, but we did everything apart from that. And there's another giant slide that's got all lights inside it. So no, I don't think you need to have kids with you because actually as adults, we're all kids at heart, aren't we? So there's loads to do. And we had such a good time doing all the stuff. We did the Galaxy Pavilion. I'd say just pay for half hour, don't pay for a week. I had to go straight to the desk after and get a travel sick tablet, but it was worth it.
Really? So this is their VR augmented reality play space, isn't it? Where they've got lots of interactive games and VR and things like that on board.
Yeah. So you put a headset on, and like some of them, you go and sit in a. What did me completely finish me off? You go and sit in a space rocket and go through space, and you feel like you're going upside down.
Yeah.
And then there was one where you're in the jungle and in a jeep, and you're going through, and there's dinosaurs. There's one that you're flying.
Walk the plank, isn't there?
Yeah, that was shut when we were
on.
on.
Oh, no.
I was gutted. I really wanted to do it. But there was one where you walk through a maze and there was, them rabbits, the ones with big teeth and they're naughty. So there was them. And they were trying to get you and you were shooting them, but you were walking through the maze. I mean, we had so much fun just watching each other do that because it's just like a square box.
A bunch of people walking around aimlessly, like in
So no, it's all very clever and all really very well done. There's a football thing. The only thing you couldn't do it included. Let me just find the price. I've wrote it somewhere. I've got the prices of all of them. So the Speedway was $15 per session, and I think it was about 10 minutes. Lost City of Atlantis, the Laser Quest, was $9.95, and the Galaxy Pavilion, you could pay $200 for a week's pass, or you just do $29 for 30 minutes. Honestly, that's enough because once you've done it and you've had your travel sick tablet and recovered, it was good. All of us literally went down to Purser's desk after and was like, oh, tablets. But it was good. It was brilliant.
I think this is that great thing, though, that there's lots of options for people. So, you don't have to. And I guess if you're filling a longer sailing as well, because Norwegian do some really fantastic kind of, 10, 11 night sailings as well. So there's a lot of time as well on board the ship. So to have all these options, even if you just make a day of or an afternoon on the ship doing these things, I think is a great way to break up a sailing as well. If you're kind of looking for something a bit more interactive and a bit more engaging to do on your sailing.
Definitely. I mean, the only thing that I'd say quite a few of my friends actually were really horrified by, they weigh you for everything. Wow. So
nobody needs to be like body shamed when you're on holiday on a cruise.
Honestly,
eating your way.
I wouldn't even look. And my friend's husband was trying to look, and one of my other friends dragged him away because he was trying to look at her weight. So that was a bit. They literally weighed everyone to go on everything, which I suppose there's restrictions, but I mean, I don't think any of us look like we broke that.
Well, here was the thing. When we were on Virtuosa MSC, all the elevators are mirrored. And I said to Phil one day, I was like, this is a lot of mirrors to look at myself on a 7-day cruise when I be eating non-stop for 7 days. Like, I don't need to be reminded of how I look. It's I get every possible opportunity when you're using my lips, like being body shamed. I don't need that. So, yeah, that's not something that you'd be down for either every day. Like, you start off at the beginning of the week and then get heavier at the end of the week as you kind of go along. So one thing that's a bit unique to Norwegian as well is they have their cruise-only fare, but they also have free at sea. An interesting figure I've been told by our sales managers is that something like 98% of people who sail with Norwegian get free at sea. So do you want to explain a little bit more about what that is and how that worked for you?
Yeah, so we all got the free at sea package. So you get the free basic drinks package, which isn't really that basic. It's got lots of cocktail options, lots of premium. And even stuff like, it doesn't do Baileys, but they've got a really good Baileys option if you want a Baileys at the end of the night. So there's lots available under that drinks package. The only thing I'd say that I don't agree with is you can't get water. So you have to upgrade to the next package, which is a bit of a cost. And really the only thing for me would have been water. I drink a lot of water. They do drinks bottles on board, but they don't let you fill them up. So you have to go up to the restaurant and up to the buffet and fill them up. And they still tell you don't fill them up there, but I just did because it's a basic human right to have water. But you could get water packages, but it was just quite difficult to get water. But other than that, everything was included. You get free Wi-Fi, but that is, off the top of my head, I think it's half an hour. But it's actually really good because, I mean, I'm a heavy user, so I've got the package. If you're not going to use it a lot and you just want to check in on home, then you go into the app, you turn it off and you turn it back on when you need it. So, and my friend left hers on by accident and she went and said, oh, what? And they just reset it. So they're really good with it. So that was, even though you don't get free Wi-Fi as such, you get free, whatever it is, 25 minutes, half an hour. You can turn it on and turn it on. But one really amazing thing, and it's a glitch in the system, and I don't know if it's just this ship, but you can use Messenger. So Donna texted me one morning, and I had a heart attack because I was on airplane mode. And you think, oh my God, it's been on all night. I have left like my roaming on because otherwise it was my package. I hadn't bought my package then. And I checked everything. Anyway, when I searched it, Messenger, for some reason, it's a glitch that you can text home without a package.
Disney. Weirdly, Disney had the same thing. Yeah, Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp will go in through even without the Wi-Fi package. It must just be they don't block that particular port, as in like the router address for that app.
And you touch on board as well, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, it is, and that was really handy for us because we all messaged. Yeah. WhatsApp didn't work, so we just all text, and it was brilliant because not everybody got the package. It was only me that really needed it. The other thing you get is 2 speciality dining options, which are worth every penny. So we did the French restaurant. So let me just find, I've got the prices here of the French restaurant. Oh, this is Cagney's. So we did Cagney's Steakhouse, and I can't even remember how many courses we had. We had loads. And for a ribeye steak, I don't know if you had to pay a $10 supplement, but they're $39. Jumbo shrimp skewer, $36. The starters, $19. So actually, you're talking $100 a person by the time you've had all your courses. And we also had the French, which was, a main was $46.
Wow. Yeah, it's great value in that alone with the drinks package, and that is a no-brainer, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then we paid extra for teppanyaki. That was $60. Just because they were so good. And teppanyaki, if you're going on that ship, do teppanyaki. Because it was amazing, our guy. We had so much fun. I've never done it before where it's been so much fun. So yeah, there's lots included, and you can get extras on top. Obviously, there's activities you have to pay for. There's a lot that you don't need to pay for, and the pools. There's a massive kids play area, swimming pool with a baby splash pool. I did ask the guy, and children in diapers and nappies can go in the splash bit. So that had families around it all the time. Then you've got the Vibe Beach Club, which you can pay extra for, but book way in advance, because we tried to book it a couple of weeks before and it was fully booked.
What is the Vibe Beach Club, sorry?
So that's an adult-only area, and I think for our sailing it was $200. But at one stage we missed it. There was a buy one, get one free, and we missed it. So by the time we went to book, it had gone. And that is just like a chill-out area where there's more staff to serve you drinks.
Yeah.
Is
that price for a day pass, or is that for a cruise pass?
That was a cruise, $199 for the whole cruise. So
that's not too bad then.
It'd have been worth it for me. There's no pool, there's hot tubs. It would have definitely been worth it for me because I wouldn't have sat by the pool. We did sit at the top of the pool one day on port day, but other than that, we tended to stick to the promenade deck where it was a bit more chilled.
I don't think we mentioned it, and you may have, but how much did you pay for your free at sea package for your sailing?
I think it was £99.
Yeah,
so worth every penny.
I think this has changed recently, but just to explain, the free at sea package is based on the number of nights of the sailing, so the price does change depends on how many nights you are sailing on board. It is usually between £99 and $99 up to something like $349, I think, if you're going for like a really long sailing, that's 18 days plus. So it's definitely good value anyway, if you think about it, to get that speciality. And then depends on the number of nights you have on your sailing, you do get extra speciality, you get extra Wi-Fi minutes. You also sometimes as well, if you get the free at sea all option, so when they do their promotion, you can also then get things like the shore excursion credit as well. So you can actually then have some money for each port you go to spend on kind of shore excursions if you wanted to as well. So it's a really great way to kind of really kind of lux out, I guess, if you want to call it that, your cruise.
We did get that, but we saved that voucher for the Bay of Pigs because we wanted to swim with the pigs, and they changed the itinerary the week before.
Oh, no.
So we went to their private island, which I didn't love. It was, well, I think if you go to the private island, get up, get off early. And obviously, it was hammered because we were in at the same time as Viva and, is it Viva? I don't know, Prima. And you just couldn't move. And I think that's my only criticism of NCL, because the staff were incredible. They were all really friendly. I think we had one person on the whole ship that wasn't. Everybody was incredible. But I felt they were short-staffed compared to when we went with Royal Caribbean. People, like you, I never really had a cocktail at night because it just took too long.
Really?
So you'd go to the bar and get a wine. I'd get a wine and soda, which is my drink anyway. But by the time you got to the bar, you thought, I can't be asked to wait for a cocktail. But it wasn't, they were busy. They were just really busy. I think they could have done with more people on the bars.
This is an unfortunate thing that's happened across a lot of the industry at the moment, though. It's been able to get staff and retain staff post-COVID is really difficult for a lot of cruise lines. So yeah, and it seems to be in certain pockets. So we had a similar problem on the Connaught Dam as well. They seem to be short-staffed to keep the bars open late. So they were closing the bars earlier than usual. It was really frustrated us when we wanted to drink in the evenings. So, like the lounge bar, the quiet bar was closing at like 11 p.m. And to be fair, the staff were great. They were really helpful. They came over. They were like, do you want to order drinks? They were bringing over 3 or 4 drinks in one go for us to sit there and enjoy the rest of the evening. But yeah, it is difficult. And some cruise lines just still haven't got back up to those pre-COVID staffing levels at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see whether that's a common problem on NCL or whether that is just this unfortunate post-COVID staffing issue that seems to be affecting some lines more than others.
Yeah, because it wasn't when we were on before, was it, Donna? No, okay, that was the press trip, so they're going to throw everything at it. But I mean, we tipped more than ever probably because the staff, I just felt so sorry for them. They were so busy. And they were, as I say, they did it all with a smile. They were absolute credit to NCL, but they were busy.
Cool. So it sounds like there's a lot to do then for kind of adults and kind of the teenagers on board. But what about things like kids clubs? I know NCL are really famous for their kids clubs. Are there a lot of are the kids clubs good, and are there many of them?
Yeah, they are good. The NCL range of ships has 5 kids clubs in all. The kids club Encore, for instance, range from 6 months to 17 years old. The first kids club is the Guppies. That's for the babies, which are 6 months to 3 years. Then you've got the Turtles, which are for 3 to 5 year olds. The Seals, which is 6 to 9 year olds. The Dolphins, which is 10 to 12 year olds. And then you've got the Teen Club Entourage, which is 12 to 17. And if I remember rightly, that one is all in a London underground theme. They are amazing.
Yeah, cool.
We got the chance to look in all of the different rooms last time, didn't we? They are downstairs on the ship. That is correct, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, deck 5.
Downstairs. And they're all quite close together. That was the only thing that we thought was a little bit different to other ships we've been on, where they've been upstairs and there's been lots of light. This was a bit different, but the rooms were amazing. They had an indoor like sports court and everything for them. Lots of different activities, big, really, really big rooms as well.
So say if you've never been on a cruise ship before and you don't know how kids clubs work, just briefly, are these kind of youth activity led, so parents can leave their kids? I guess just a dummy's guide to how kids clubs work on cruise ships, because there may be listeners who've never sailed and don't know how kids clubs work.
Yes, well, so they normally have a cruise planner for a ship cruise planner for the children as well. So they'll get a list of what's going on that day, what times the kids clubs are open. They often take them for dinner if you want to take for dinner as well. So there's lots of things to do, lots of activities, creative activities, lots of sports activities, reading time, movie nights. There's loads. The planners are normally full.
We went through the cupboards when we were on the NCL Encore because there was no one in there, so we literally went through everything and had a look at actually what was in, and the arts and crafts. So they had everything, didn't they? The facilities were incredible. Beanbags, footballs, there was everything.
Little soccer tables and sort of air hockey and loads of stuff for them to do, and they're quite secure as well.
I was going to say it's probably worth, and again, we're probably going to do another episode where we deep dive into kids clubs and kids on sailing with kids in another episode. But just briefly then, just to talk about as well the safety of kids and just kind of obviously dropping kids off and who can pick them up obviously, just to explain to people who maybe have never done it before, kids clubs, they're very protected, aren't they? Or obviously everyone's back checked and background checked, the staff who will work in there, but then also as well, you have to do a sign-off list as well for who can pick your kids up from the kids clubs. And obviously, because you take your photo to get onto the cruise ship, they obviously have a photo of the person collecting them as well. So anybody who's worried about kind of the safety of their children on board, definitely the kids clubs are really safe for them to consider if they want to have a couple of hours themselves and feel kind of peace of mind knowing their kids are going to be looked after by people who are respectable. I think that's something that definitely all cruise ships do, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's only really the older children that can have self-sign out. So provided you know where they are, where they're going to trust where they're going, then that's probably okay. But yeah, generally they are all signed in, signed out, and you have to be the person picking them up or designate someone else to pick them up as well.
And on another note, actually, one of our boys is type 1 diabetic, and they were, I don't think we've been on a bad cruise ship. I think on the land resort, I wouldn't have ever left him in a club. But on ships, they always gave us a pager so that if there was any problems, they could page us if he felt his sugar was going low. But they were on the ball. They had snacks there ready for him. And I know with other children with other needs, they're fantastic. I think you can't beat cruise ship kids clubs for the quality of staff, the level of training and the care that they give. And, they're not there as a nursery. The kids have a great time. They don't want to come out.
Like, we don't sail with kids, but I've heard so many stories from other kids. I don't say make friends, that sounds really dodgy, but like, when the kids say, kids have got no fear, have they? So they will randomly, like we were on Coningstam, and a kid just randomly sat with us. A group of gays sat in the bar drinking, and he just come and sat with us and started like just telling us about what the kids clubs were like or what he was getting up to. And I was kind of like, this is handy to know as a travel agent, but I was a bit like, I was like, can you sit somewhere else? But he was just explaining to me like how many friends he makes and how cool it is. And he came on board, he's the only child, and he was there, and then he made loads of friends. They were all kind of hanging out together, making plans together. So I think it's really cool as well that the kids do have a degree of independence as well on the ship to kind of, make their own friends. They've got their own spaces that's safe for them to go to if they want to kind of do all the activities. I think, definitely it's a family, it's a holiday for the whole family, isn't it?
Definitely.
When you're on a cruise ship, everyone has space to
Definitely.
do their own thing. Cool, okay. So what was your cabin on board? What type of cabin did you stay in this time around? So
we had a balcony cabin. It wasn't a large balcony because I think NCL, they're notoriously smaller, aren't they, the cabins? So when Donna and I went on, we stayed in a mini suite, and it was like a balcony cabin. It wasn't...
It's a little tiny bit bigger.
Yeah, but do you know what? I loved the cabin. It was... When I first went in, I thought, this isn't very big. And I mean, the only issue was there was like a tiny gap between the sofa and the wardrobe door. But other than that, there was tons and tons of storage. And what I did really love was the bathroom was a corner shower with a door, so really spacious shower. There was loads and loads of storage. Balcony, standard balcony size, really. But yeah, and the bed was mega comfy, really, really comfy. So no, I loved the cabin. The cabin was great. And actually, we had a friend that cruised with us that's only ever been on a 6-star cruise. So we were all a bit like,
right.
Is she gonna like it? And she was really super impressed with the cabin. She actually loved NCL.
Good.
Because they're just all different, aren't they?
Yeah.
But no, it was fab.
That's the key thing in it. Every cruise line is a little bit different. Even though, Royal Caribbean and NCL get compared a lot, they do things very differently from each other as well. Just that whole freestyle way of cruising versus Royal Caribbean, who, even though they're quite contemporary and modern, they do have a more traditional approach to cruise when it comes to kind of first seating, second seating. They have some anytime dining, but NCL, they have completely open dining, isn't it? It's completely free for you to go and dine whenever you want.
Yeah, definitely.
How does that work then with regards to kind of main dining room? Because from what I've been told by Norwegian, they have multiple dining rooms you can go to. Are you assigned to dining rooms, or can you just freely choose whichever dining room you want to go to when it comes to the main dining anyway, outside of speciality?
You just go when you want. I think you can book on the app, but we never did. And you've got the big dining room, which is called the Manhattan Room, and it's huge, double-story. We went in there twice, actually, and had really good meals. So you've got 2 more intimate restaurants, and they are called Savour and Taste, and they're opposite each other. And they're just smaller, more intimate restaurants. It's a bit like on, P&O Ione and how they've got their Pearl, and it's a bit like that. And they were really, really good. The food was excellent. It was the same menu but you got to know the waiting staff, even though it was brilliant. You could just eat wherever you want. And then you had the local grill, which was more pub food. You wouldn't go hungry. It's impossible.
It's cool that they have alternate options for main dining anyway. It's not a case of you've got the one dining room and that's it. It's cool that you do have, even within the included dining offering, you can pick and choose what you want as well. So there's still some degree of freedom, even when you're not doing specialty dining, which I think is a really nice touch for them as well.
Yeah. And room service. I mean, I didn't see a room service menu for the after breakfast, but you pay $5.95 for breakfast room service. But do you know what? We did it every day because I think it's worth $5.95 because I want to sit on my balcony, and I ordered loads of coffee. We used to order like 3 jugs of coffee and loads of fruit, and they did an omelette for $5.95, and then you don't have to go anywhere. So you get up in the morning and enjoy breakfast on your balcony, overlooking the Caribbean islands. So I really liked that about it as well.
It's worth it. And those little things are more abuse taxes is the best way I can refer to them. So they're just to stop people ordering random things like an orange, just because they want an orange in the room type of thing. It's just to reduce that level of people ordering small things they probably don't plan to eat, but they're just doing it to have something in the room. So it's a minor fee to kind of cover that.
It was worth it, every penny.
I think what's really cool is Norwegian's quite a large cruise line. So they've got a number of ships. So they offer itineraries to pretty much everywhere. So you can sail. Obviously, the Caribbean is the bread and butter cruise market, but they have ships in Europe. They have ships in Asia. They have ships in Australia. They do some really great repositioning sailings as well. So they're a really good cruise line to consider if you're somebody who maybe has sailed a lot, but you're looking for somewhere new to sail with. Norwegian's definitely got ships everywhere, so you're not going to struggle for inspiration. If you were to offer any top tips for people who are maybe looking to sail with Norwegian, or they're kind of getting on for the first time, what would be your top tips for people then who are first sailing on board a Norwegian ship?
I think my top tips would be, if you want to do the Vibe Beach Club, book it when, as soon as you can book it, because it does sell out. And when you get on the ship, the app is amazing. So firstly, be careful of your Wi-Fi if you're intending to, but you don't need the Wi-Fi to book activities. So as soon as you get on, get yourself a spot and either go to one of the interactive wall things or do it on your phone and book any shows you want to see and any activities like the racing, and get it out of the way, get it booked. It does get booked up. We booked the racing on day 3, but if there's a particular time you want to do it, then book it and just enjoy it, because it's a great ship. It's a really good. I'd definitely go back. I want to try the others now, though.
I'm keen to try them, and I definitely want to get on Prima and Viva as well, so they're a whole other level again with Norwegian. And again, we'll save that for another episode and talking about Prima and Viva and how that's different from the rest of the Norwegian Cruise Line fleet. But I think that's a good place to kind of end this episode now for you today. I hope it's given you guys at home a really good overview of what it's like to sail with Norwegian, and specifically on Encore as well. So guys, if you would like to have a chat to me about planning a cruise holiday, if you're from the UK, then I definitely would love to have a chat to you. My name's Kieran, the Magical Traveller. You can find me on everything under Magical Traveller, but my socials are magical, TRVLR. And then if they want to find out some of your amazing tips, and we've linked some in the description of this episode as well, but where else can they find you guys as well online?
You can find us over at Cruising for All or Cruising with the Kids. You can find myself over at Like Love Do, and Sarah.
You can find me over on Extraordinary Chaos. Also, we've got a Facebook group for family cruisers. So if you search Cruising with Kids in Facebook, we have a super friendly group where you can ask any questions about family cruising.
Yeah, there's some great tips in there as well, especially if you're nervous about sailing for the first time with kids as well, and you're not sure how it's going to be. There's some great people, and people are really friendly and willing to share tips and advice in there as well. So brilliant. Well, thank you for that, guys. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do give us a like and a follow. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please do leave a review. It lets Apple know that you've enjoyed this. Other than that, guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Bye.